favorite videos to shoot in the year because I think it tells you a lot about how I read in combination with the series that I finished, which should have come out either last week or yesterday. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to publish these yet. And this is series that I'm in the middle of or have started in 2018. And right off the bat, I can tell you something that I find very interesting is that there's only a couple of series, there's only 4 series here that I've read more than one book of, and all of them I've only read 2 books in each series. The rest of them are 1 book per series, and 7 of them are the first book that I've read from that series. So that's, I think, something really interesting. But let's get into it. I'm going to talk about the books, where they are in the series, as long as I can remember, and whether it's the first book I read or whatnot. I like this video a lot because I can look back on it throughout the year to see what, series I should make a priority. Obviously, the ones I'm in the middle of are the ones that I should work on finishing instead of picking up a new series, which I also love to do. But without further ado, let's just get right into it. So the first series I want to talk about is The Wheel of Time. This is a series that I have been working on now for 2 years. Last year I read the first book, and this year I read 2 books. I read The Great Hunt, and I read that in June, and then I read The Dragon Reborn, which is the 3rd book. I am really enjoying this series, and it's one that I'd like to finish, though it's not one that I think I'm going to finish in 2019. The next series that I read 2 books from is the To All the Boys I've Loved Before series by Jenny Han, and I have read To All the Boys I've Loved Before and P.S. I Still Love You. This is a trilogy, so it's definitely something that I can finish in 2018, and I do plan on finishing. Then in December I started rereading Harry Potter, and I have read 2 books from that series so far. I have read The Philosopher's Stone and The Chamber of Secrets. These are my beautiful Ravenclaw editions, which I love. And yeah, I would like to finish rereading Harry Potter this year. Normally when I do a reread, I read the first 3 or 4 books and then I give up, but it is something that I'd like to try to do this year. Another thing that I read from this year is the Abortion or Old World series by Garth Nix. In December I read The Creature in the Case, which comes in between, or comes after the original trilogy. And I also read Clariel, which comes before the original trilogy. I really enjoy both of these, and I only have 2 books left in the series right now, and it's definitely something I want to finish in 2019. Then let's talk about the series that I started. Some of these, I was starting to reread. Some of these, it was cozies, but let's just get right on into it. Let's start with Robertson Davies. This is the first Robertson Davies that I've read, and I really loved it. It's 5th Business. It's the first in the Stepford trilogy, and that's definitely something that I want to finish this year. I have the 2nd book on my shelf already, so at least get another book down in 2019. I also started Oryx and Crake, which is the first book in the Mad Adam series by Margaret Atwood. It is a trilogy, so it's definitely something that's finishable, and I do believe that this is being turned into a television series this year, so it's definitely something that I'm looking into reading. I also started The Bear and the Nightingale series. The title of the series escapes me. It's by Catherine Arden. I thought this book was okay. I'm definitely going to continue on, seeing that it's just a trilogy, but I don't know. I didn't love it as much as everyone else. Another reread I started this year was Lord of the Rings. I listened to The Fellowship of the Rings on audiobook. I do have the second 2 on audiobook too, so I think I will listen to them at some point this year, but I don't know when. I love this series. This is my 3rd reading of The Fellowship of the Ring. I've only read The Two Towers and Return of the King once, so I am looking forward to re-experiencing this. And the other reread that I started this year was A Wrinkle in Time. I've read this book, I think, 3 times now, and I've read the 2nd book once already, but I haven't finished the other, 3 books. So it is a quintet, and I'm very excited to read this. I really love this series, so I haven't seen the movie yet, though. And the final 2 series that I started this year are both cozy mystery series, and that is Live and Let Growl by Lauren Benson. I think this is the 19th book in that series, and the first one that I read. I did enjoy it, and it is another series that I will look into reading more of. It was just a lot of fun. And then I got the second book in an undercover dish mystery called Cheddar Off Dead by Julia Buckley. I did enjoy this. It was Christmas themed, which is why I was given it, and also why I read it before the end of the year. But yeah, it was a fun book, and it's definitely a series that I'd look into reading more. I really like the character development. Then on to books in series that I have read from before, but only read one book of this year. I'll start off with Discworld by Terry Pratchett. This year I read Small Gods. I can't remember what sub-series this is part of, but I think it's the 14th book overall in Discworld. I've been reading them in publication order, so that's been a lot of fun. I did enjoy this. I do have 2 more books in this series on my shelf to read, so that's something that I'd like to do in 2019. Then over Christmas I read the second book in the year-round Christmas mystery series, We Wish You a Murderous Christmas by Vicky Delaney. There is a total of 4 books in this series so far. The 4th one's coming out this year in 2019, I think at the end of November. So I don't know if I'll finish this series next year, or this year, I might, but I definitely will read the next book in 2019. Then continuing on with the cozy mystery theme, I read Murder of a Sleeping Beauty. I believe this is the 4th book in the Scumble River mystery series. I do have the 5th book on my shelf right now, and it's something that I want to read soon because I do love these characters and I love this series. But yeah, this is always going to be a staple. There's like 13 books in this series, so. And then I read Knit to be Tied by Maggie Stefton. I believe this is the 14th or 15th book in a knitting mystery series. I'm not entirely sure. I read 2 books from this series so far, and I've enjoyed them both. And I think it might be something that I continue on with, but it's not something that I'm going to go out of my way to collect, I don't think, at this point. Then I read The Weed That Strings the Handmaid's Bag by Alan Bradley. This is the 2nd book in the Flavia series. I read the 1st book in 2017, and I have the 3rd book sitting on my shelf right now, so it's definitely a series that I'm going to be continuing on with. And they're just really pretty. I like them. I enjoyed them. And the final book in the series that I have started, or I'm in the middle of, is Miss Fisher Murder Mysteries. This one is the 6th or 7th in the series, Ready Gore. And I have the next one on my shelf. It's definitely a series I'd like to continue. I love this series so much. It might be one of my favorite mystery series that I'm in the middle of right now. But yeah, love it. I feel a little bit bad about the end of these videos because they're all like just stacks of books that I didn't feel like restacking in a nice way, but that's what we got right now. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you have read any of these series and you really like them, please let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what your opinions are and see what book series I should make more of a priority in 2019. I love reading series. I prefer them to standalones, which is obvious if you watch my 2-part reading wrap-up, because the majority of the books that I read in 2018 were in part series. But that's all I have for this video today. Next, coming up, we have my graphic novels that I've read this year. I read quite a few, so I decided to just make it their own video. I thought it'd be a little bit easier and a little bit more fun that way. I don't know when it's coming out, but it should be soonish. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.